So how's it going, my comic chat? I'm here today with Jason Meadows, the creator of Tales of Neroville, and another one is Hero on the Lamb.
Hero on the Lamb is a mini series, kind of a branch off from the main title. The Tales from Neroville is an anthology superhero series, a lot like Astro City. So the goal was to try and introduce my universe under one title, and as people seem to have an affinity for one character or another, then do some mini series of those. So yeah, Hero on the Lamb is a 3-issue mini.
You're on issue 2 right now.
Yes, so the campaigns are 2 issues of Nearsville and 1 issue of Hero on the Lamb for 3 campaigns, and then after the next campaign, which will wrap up Hero on the Lamb, there will be a separate another miniseries with another character.
All right. What creators do you have working on the anthology with you?
Oh my, so many. Andy Korneawan is a artist who got with me at the beginning, and he drew the first 2 issues. He drew some backup stories. Really kind of got me on the spot here. Eric Lay is an artist or a colorist. I'm sorry, that I work with. Yeah, I've got 9 issues out, so there's a lot of different artists that I've worked with over the years, and that's my favorite part about doing the anthology book is I knew I would get bored doing the same character all the time. So, and I wanted to introduce, like, without sounding a fool of myself, I wanted to introduce my Marvel universe, but I could only afford to put out like 1 book. So I thought this was a fun way to do it. And, you know, the guy that's drawing my Spider-Man series might not be the artist I want for my Man-Thing series, you know, or my, Wolverine series. So based on the genre or the story that's being told and the character that's being told, I can go out and, shop for an artist that really I think suits that story. So that part's been a whole lot of fun, is looking at all these indie artists and reaching out to people. And the guys that I've worked with have been so cool, and I've got to meet just some incredible artists from all over the world.
If somebody wants to work with you, how can they get a hold of you?
The best way is the Knuckle Supper Studios, my studio Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/KSS Comics. And, you can reach out to me there, like the page. It has all the updates. I try and update as we're getting work done on the books, updates on the campaigns and that sort of thing. And that's communicating there is how I met most of my artists. So, yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me for anything.
What's the elevator pitch about your book?
Essentially, imagine Astro City if it were written in the 80s and published by Eclipse or Eternity Studios. That's my big draw. They're fun, action, adventure comics. No morals, religion, politics, anything like that jammed down your throat. Look, my entire point with Tales from Nearsville is to help you escape the reality of mundane life for a little bit and just sit back and enjoy the books.
I like it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, that's really it. I grew up reading those 80s indie comics and like 80s Spider-Man and Daredevil and X-Men and those books that were just so entertaining. You just really look forward to that next issue coming out. And that's our goal, is to make them fun. Sometimes not as much fun or funny, but entertaining, and just leave you thinking, wow, that was a good book.
Okay. And you're up to number 7. The campaign's for 6, 7?
The campaign is for 6 and 7 of Tales from Nearsville and number 2 of Hero on the Lamb.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's 9 books total to date with the catch-up tier, and it's almost 300 pages.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Are you going to collect it all in a trade?
I think after the next campaign, because then Hero will be wrapped up, and it will be 8 issues of Nearsville. Then we'll start collecting some stuff into trades, and it'll be a little easier for consumers then.
Yeah. Are you in comic shops?
I'm not. That's something I need to look I have a great comic shop here in Lancaster, PA, the Comic Store. If you're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, it's a great store. But I need to start reaching out to some of the LCS and try and get in there.
What's the name of the store?
The Comic Store.
That's the name of the comic shop?
That's the name of the store. It's the Comic Store. There's the Comic Store East, which is here in Lancaster, PA, and there's the Comic Store West, which is in York, PA. And funny story, years ago, I had seen an advertisement for the largest comic book store in Delaware. And at the time, I was dating a girl who I got into comics. She loved Impulse and Young Justice and those books. I said, hey, let's pack up the car, throw some snacks and some roadies in, and head to Delaware. It's like, I think 2 hours from here. We got to Delaware's largest comic store, and it was smaller than my local shop. We were so disappointed in how small this comic book store was. So yeah, I mean, it's a great store. Lots of back issues, all kinds of stuff.
I think I've seen a video about the world's biggest one where that guy's got it's like a warehouse of just everything.
Yeah.
Can't even think of the name of it.
There's some big ones like Mile High. Back when I was a kid and I would get those Mile High catalogs in the mail, I had always wanted to go out to Colorado and visit that store and just see what that was like, because it just always blew my mind how many books they had there.
Yeah. Comic-Cons, I think, yeah. That's the exact one I was thinking about, Mile High. Mile High Comics. Yeah.
They've been around forever. And, back in the 80s, cover prices were so much cheaper, and they would have these sales. And I remember they would bag them all together, and I'd get a stack of books like bagged up this much in the mail for like, $25. And I was so excited. You'd just sit there and read for hours.
Yeah. Was it a mix of everything?
I would get on a kick, and I would get a bunch of like Justice League or Teen Titan or, whatever I had just started reading. And my local comic shop had decent prices, but, Mile High would have 50 cents a piece. And then if you spent $50 or whatever it was, you get 10 more free comics or something crazy like that. So yeah, you would just order a ton of comic books back in the day and get them shipped to your house.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for new creators out there?
I do a lot of writing. I always wanted to be an illustrator. Realized that I'm not the greatest illustrator. I'm drawing Hero on the Lamb myself because it's my baby. That was my pet project. But I'm not the greatest, most dynamic artist, and I'm slow as mud. So my advice is just keep doing whatever it is you want to do, whether it's penciling, inking, writing, coloring. Just keep doing it and try different things. The guy that is doing the horror comic with me, he's been my buddy since high school. And I remember flipping through his sketchbook, and he drew the corner of a room. It was a filing cabinet and a window with the Venetian blinds and stuff. Just practice drawing everything. As far as writing, I'm old school. I've always got a notebook with me, and I write everything. Every thought that comes to my head when I'm writing a story, I write everything down, and then I go back and fine tune it, and weed out the minutia that's not necessary, because not everything's gold. That's one thing I see a lot of newer writers, having some trouble with. Is not every line in the book is gold, and the old adage for comics is show don't tell. So you got to learn where to weed that stuff out and have what you do write have an impact.
Okay. Are you reading any indie comics right now?
I don't really have time. I have a stack of them over there, from Indiegogo and, other crowdsourcing places. I don't have time to sit down and read them.
Okay. Yeah, we was talking about it before. Comic-Cons. Do you have any Comic-Cons planned?
I don't. With COVID, everything got put on the shelf. And but I am planning on. We used to do Philly, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and then a bunch of little ones every year. and I would love to get back to doing that. That is one of the biggest goals, hopefully for next year, and just getting out there and meeting people. That's the fun. When you get people over to your table and you get to talk to them, and talk about the books and explain it and have them flip through and everything. It's just so much fun meeting people that share the passion for comics.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Oh, when does your campaign end that you're running right now?
I believe Indiegogo has about 10 more days left. Fund My Comic just runs until, oh boy, till I end it. Did I lose you?
No, I haven't heard of Fund My Comic before.
So Fund My Comics was started by an indie creator, Luke Stone, I believe is his name. Great guy, and he wasn't happy with how some of the things were going at Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and he wanted to try and come up with something that was really indie friendly for smaller guys like myself and like him. And there's been some creators that have been having some really nice success on there. So I decided, and I'm friends with them, so I decided to try it on there. So I've got my campaign running on both Indiegogo and Fund My Comic right now. And I did put exclusive rewards on each one. So the Fund My Comic campaign has original art on it that a guy goes by the name El Guapo did for me, 11 by 17, gorgeous artwork. And if you buy one of those pieces, it comes with all 9 issues, digital, all 9 issues print, 2 11 by 17 prints that I did, and all the other stuff. And Indiegogo has one. Knuckle Supper Studios is our company name, and we have a brawler, an old Irish bare knuckle brawler, as our mascot. So one of the rewards that we have on there is to be the brawler. I draw the backer as an old bare knuckle brawler and put him on the back cover.
Yeah.
Those haven't sold yet. They went right away with the last campaign. This one, they're still there. There's only 3 of them because we only do 3 issues. So there's 3 of those available. But I think that one, like I said, that one's got 10 days. Fund My Comic is a little bit of a different animal. And once you, I believe, meet your goal, they start releasing funds to you right away. You don't have to wait for the campaign to end or wait till you end it to get your funds. So I can go ahead and print books. I can start sending them out and still have the campaign running. So that one's just going to go for a while.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to have to look into it.
Yeah. Everything's paid through Stripe. I didn't have Stripe before. It's easy to set up. He has a link right there. So like when you go through and you're setting up your account, you click the link, it sets you up with Stripe, and it's been very smooth going with FMC. Yeah, I recommend it.
So after you hit your fund goal, does it just keep giving you money after every time someone backs it? Or
yeah, someone backs and I get a notification that Stripe sent me X amount of dollars.
That's all right. So
yeah.
Is it like Kickstarter and Indiegogo? Like if it doesn't fund, you don't get the money, or do you still get the money?
You do whichever way. Like with Indiegogo, I forget what it's called, but I do it where it doesn't matter if I reach my goal. I'm always gonna fulfill regardless whether I gotta print 10 comics or 500 comics. I always fulfill. I'm gonna print the comics. I'm gonna do them. And Fund My Comics has a similar thing. I forget what it's called. I think it's called the Keep It All, or you set a goal. And I set my goals low. I think my goals are set at like $200 or something like that. Because, like I said, I'm going to fulfill no matter what.
Right.
Always have. So that's just how we do it. And I set my goal low, and usually hit my goals right away.
It's very kick-ass that you do that. Because like most people, I've heard of a couple creators that don't do that. They're like, "This is what I need. If I don't get it, the book don't get made."
Yeah, no, I'm committed. I mean, and that's one of the things that I decided to do from the very beginning to try and differentiate myself from a lot of the other crowdfunding guys is when I launch a campaign, the books are done 100%, except for like the brawler back issue thing or any ads. So I reach out to other creators then, and say, hey, you want to throw an ad in my book? I got 3 pages to fill or whatever. So my books are done. I've already paid the artist in full. Everything's done. So I've already paid for everything. I might as well print the books and send them, send them out. Right. They're not going to do any good sitting in my computer or stacked up in my bedroom. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, dead or alive, who would you like to make a comic book with?
boy, that's a good one. I mean, I would absolutely love to have Art Adams draw anything for me. I mean, he's the guy that just makes me drool every time. Doesn't matter who he's drawing. I love it. Um, well, as far as a writer, that's hard to say. I'm an '80s indie guy, and I've had the pleasure of talking to Roland Mann, who does Cat and Mouse. Just such a super nice guy. I'd love to see him do, an issue or miniseries or something with my characters, just to, just to say that I got to work with one of the guys who really inspired me to do indie comics.
Okay. Yeah, we know Roland. We talked to him, I think, in the very beginning.
He's a great guy.
Oh,
He is such a nice guy.
So do you do your books like they do? They do newsprint, don't they? Or am I thinking of Alterna?
Alterna does newsprint, and the first 3 issues of Tales from Nearsville are newsprint books because I wanted to keep the cost low for backers, and I wanted to get that '80s indie feel, like the books I used to hold. And I went through Alterna with their printers. It didn't go well. Not Alterna's fault. The printer screwed it up. They did reprint the books and made me pay the shipping for them. And Alterna had been having issues with this printer. And they then went back to them with another problem, and the printer told them, "We're done with you."
Mm.
And that was it. So Alterna found a new printer. I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the new presses can't really run the news press properly.
Yeah. And the books looked good. I liked the I liked the newsprint, but when you get them done on the better paper and everything, then they just really shine.
I like the smell of newsprint, but when you feel that,
Yeah.
70, 80-pound gloss, it's it's just amazing.
Yeah, when I got those books from you guys for my last 3-book campaign, and I got them in my hand, they were gorgeous and heavy. Like they've got some girth to them. Like it's not like a floppy. It's not like those newsprint books. Yeah, they're beautiful books, and I'm really proud of them. And yeah, this is the way.
Is there anything you want to say before we go?
I don't think so. I appreciate you having me on, and I ask people, please go check out the campaigns if you like fun comics at reasonable prices that aren't going to talk down to you or that sort of thing. I think my book is something you would definitely enjoy.
And I forgot to ask, what social medias are you on?
I'm on Instagram, which I barely ever use because it's only on the phone. So I'm glued to my desk most of the time working. So Facebook is really the place to go. I do have a YouTube channel, which generally I only use to make the videos for my campaigns because with Indiegogo and then you need a placeholder for your videos. So, I throw my videos up there, and I'm going to get on that more. There's a channel for me. So I'm going to start doing some different things on there rather than just, the campaign videos.
Okay. Appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me.
All right. Thank you for having me.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.